Hello class, good day. I hope you're all well. So, gusto ko kayong pasalamatan for this napaka-memorable na first semester natin sa remote learning, and I want to thank you for holding on up to this point. And ayun, so before we end and before you face your finals for the upcoming next week and yung quiz tomorrow, let me just share a glimpse or a few reminders when it comes to series. So, pasalamatan natin si Angelica, no? Message tayo, and si Jack na mag-show daw tayo ng mga PPs or practice problems. So, tulad ng ginagawa natin dati pa. Okay, so how are we gonna approach these problems? Okay, let's look on this example, guys. Ano? So, hanap na lang tayo dito kahit ano. O, yan, ito. Let's look on this example. I've prepared this beforehand, no? So, summation of n from 1 to infinity, and we are to identify if the series converges or diverges. If it converges, we are to determine its value. Okay, how are we gonna do that? So, simply by, ito, whiteboard na tayo ngayon, guys. So, our case is that we have looked that the series is simply summation of n, tama. Now, you just simply rewrite this as, as a limit, okay? So, or you must simply transform this as, let's say, your an is simply n, right? Okay, so in order for you to see the summation of the series, you can simply have the series as n, 1, 2, tama ba? 4, and so on and so forth up to infinity, n. Okay? Now, ano yung summation natin ng series? What is the formula for the summation of series? It's basically the summation of the first term, a1, plus the last term, an, divided by 2, multiplied by the number of series. Okay? The number of terms. So, in this case, if you are to rewrite again this the sequence, this will be this one, right? And in order for us to identify the sum, pwede mano-mano. Tama? 1 plus 2, ang haba niyan. Diba? Plus 4 plus, and so on and so forth to infinity, plus n minus 1, then plus n. Okay, ganyan. So, in order for us to identify if it converges or diverges, we just simply get, again, the limit of the function of n as n approaches infinity. Okay? So, again, the an, or you can simply input an. So, or the summary. Okay, the summary of this term. So, this one. Clear muna natin para malinis. Ulit. So, limit of n as n approaches infinity. So, that will be, an natin is simply the limit of an as n approaches infinity. Eh, sabi natin that an is simply the summary. Okay? So, for us you to solve the sum, that is simply a1, o yung formula ulit, times over 2 multiplied by n. Tapos yung sa series natin, 1, 2, and so on so forth up to n. Tama, di ba? So, you can simply rewrite this term. Baka malito kayo, no? Baka malito kayo sa ano ko. Sa variables. Okay. So, that will be, hindi dapat pala to an, no? So, baka malito kayo sa variable. Summary of an. Okay, summary of an. Yan. So, pwede na yan. So, an here is the last term, and then an. Okay. So, by that, you can simply show that the first term is simply, ano yung first term, guys? That is simply 1, and the last term is n. Okay. So, that will be, you can simply rewrite the term as 1 plus n over 2 multiplied by n. So from this, we can get the limit of n, the summary of a sub n is simply n times n plus 1 all over 2. So if you approach infinity, if you add infinity, if you add 1 to infinity and multiplied by infinity, of course your answer will be positive infinity also. So meaning the answer simply diverges. Okay. So let's look on another example. Pero tingnan muna natin kung tama ba yung solution natin. Share screen. Show solution. Oh, tama. Mukha naman tama, di ba? N plus 1 over 2. Alright. So ano pa tayo, isa pang solution or isa pang problem. How about this one? Example number 4. Ito pwede tayo magano dito. Example number 4. Geometric series naman to kasi. Naalala nyo ba yung problem? So, rewrite ko lang para maalala natin. That will be summation of n is equal to 1. 1 over 3n minus 1. From 0 to infinity. Okay. From 1 to infinity, rather. Okay. So, share screen ulit. Whiteboard. Boom. Clear all. Okay. The problem is simply, we are to identify if the problem or this series, the summation of this term, converges or diverges. That will be 1 over 3n minus 1. So again, the key here is you have an now. The an is 1 over 3n minus 1. And we're to identify the summary of this term. Okay? So for now, let's identify the sequence. At n is equal to 1. Sulat natin What is an? Pangit ang sulat no? At n is equal to 1, that will be 1/3. An is 1/3. Tama. At n is equal to 2, that will be, mali. This is 1. 1 minus 1, 0. So that will be, that will be 1 also. 1 minus 1, 0. 3 to 0, raised to 0 is 1. So 1 divided by 1 is equal to 1. And if it is 2, that's simply 1/3. And if it's 3, that is simply 1/9. So yung series natin, nakikita na natin at n is equal to 1 over 3n minus 1. Kasi nakikita na natin, this is a series of with a ratio of 1/3, di ba? 1, 1/3, multiplied by 1/3, 1/9, and so on and so forth. Alright? So how about, ano yung sum ng series nito? The sum of geometric series from our formula is 1, nakalimutan ko. Yan. May code ko 1 minus r raised to n over 1 minus r. Okay. So, in order for us to solve, that is simply, or to know that if it's diverges, ganun lang din. We are to compare the two. Or to get the limit. Okay? So, let's try. So, that will be limit of Sn, or the summary of An. Let's substitute first. So, yung magiging term na natin from the equation is simply 1 minus 1/3 raised to n all over 1 minus 1/3. Alright. Then, simply getting its limit. So, step by step, no? Step by step. Sequence. Identify an, sequence, and then summation or the series. So, that will be getting the limit now as n approaches infinity of the term one minus 1/3 raised to n. That is simply 1 minus. Okay. Rewrite natin ng pangit eh. Okay, rewrite natin ah. So, getting again the limit class of n approaches infinity. So that will be 1 minus 1/3 raised to n over 1/3, 1 minus 1/3. You can simply get limit of n approaches infinity. 1 over minus 1 raised to n over 3 raised to n over, ano to, 2/3 no? So that will be, I can simply rewrite that to be limit of n approaches infinity is equal to 3 halves multiplied by 1. From 1 raised to any number, kahit exponentially, ano pa yan, infinite pa yan, kahit si Thanos pa yan, no? 1 raised to n, that will be 1. Tama ba? And then over 3. Okay? So, if this one, I approach this to be infinity, 1 over infinity, that will be 0. So, the answer is converging to 3 halves. May natin na. Yellow! Okay. 3 halves ang answer. So, that will be it. A very short discussion. Lagi nyo lang ililista, no? Lalagyan nyo lang ililista, class. Huwag kayong maghihiyang lista ng mga, what you call this, ng mga values. Okay? Huwag kayong maghihiyang, o yung mga divergence test. Paano naman yun? Paano naman yung divergence test? Ganito lang, di ba? For example, wala ang aking, share screen, whiteboard, boom. Okay, ito na. Paano yung divergence test? Diba, for example, any number, o halimbawa, hanap tayong example. Kunyari, limit of n squared n cube. Hindi, hanap na lang tayo po, hanap tayong formula ulit. Or isa pang example. Ito. And tingnan muna natin kung tama pala yung sagot ko, no? Mamaya, Sir Bogart talaga eh. Boom. Show solution. O, tama naman, 3 halves. Okay, tingnan natin to. Ito. O, yung divergence test. That will be, take note what's that? Summation of ten plus 2n cube. Okay, ulit. So, paano natin malalaman? O, paano naman yung divergence test, sir? Hindi namin alam pa paano. Iniisip nyo lang yon. Masyado lang kayong natatakot, na-intimidate lang kayo sa numbers. Okay. Summation of 4n squared minus n cube, okay, over 10 plus 2n cube. So, ganito lang ginagawa ko, divergence test. Kapag daw hindi siya nag-equal to 0, it diverges. Tama ba? It diverges. Tingnan natin. Divergence test. Oh, divergent test. Limits. If the limit an is not 0, does not exist, then the sum diverges. Okay. Kapag hindi siya equal to 0, it meaning it diverges. Okay? So, share ko screen ulit. Tingnan natin if this series is diverging. So, you can simply, again, get the limit n approaches infinity of 4n squared over n3 over 10 plus 2n cubed. Okay? Now, multiply. Anong pwede natin gawin? Multiply all this term by 1 over n cubed over 1 over n cubed. Pag ginawa mo yan, ano mangyayari? So, that will be the limit of n approaching infinity is equal to 4 over n. Tama ba? Minus 1 over 10 over n cubed. Ayan na. 10 over n cubed minus 2. Okay. Eto, pag sinalpak mo si ano dito, guys, class, pag sinalpak nyo dito si infinity, si Thanos yan, infinity stone yan, 4 over infinity, 0. 10 over infinity. Infinity cube ba? That will be 0. So, the answer is simply, nating, dilaw tayo, usti tayo eh. That will be 1 half. Alright. So, meaning, it diverge. Hindi siya equal to 0 eh. Ganun yung ka-basic. Basic, di ba? Basic yan. So, I hope you learned something today. Message nyo lang ako, class, kung meron pang tanong. Okay, kung meron pang tanong. Okay, mahihiyang magtanong. And good luck to your exam tomorrow, or quiz tomorrow, and examination next week. And by the way, magpapatawag pa ako ng isa pang general class for me to announce your grade sa laboratory natin. So, baka whole na yun sa pangkalahatan na. So, maybe Sunday or Monday. God bless you all. And I will see you all.